In this video, we'll talk about Jamb's mathematics past question for 2023. This is a long video, so to make things easy for you, I've added the following things into the description of this video. Number 1, section parts. I've sectioned this video by questions. So you can skip questions if you are confident you know how to solve them. You can easily go back to a particular question if you want. All you need to do is to go to the description of this video, check the question you want, and click to the blue time codes, those ones written in numbers next to the question. Number 2, I've added resources. So for each section of this video, that's for each question, there are links that talk about that kind of question or that topic in depth. So in case you don't really understand the question or you want to get extra practice for those kind of questions, you can check the description or the link of those videos. Now, to learn as much as possible, I would suggest that you stay active. Pick a pen and a paper and try to solve with me. If you feel like you still don't get the concepts after a question, try to pause the video and solve the question by yourself. If that doesn't work, you can write down the question, come back later to check the extra resources relating to the question. Remove distractions when you're working. Take a break when you're tired. It is important that your mind stays refreshed and focused. This will help you learn as much as possible. With all of that said, let's get into the video. For the first question, we have 314 base 10 minus 257. 256 base 7 is equal to 340 base n. So this is a number-based equation. The first step to solve this kind of problems is to convert all the terms to base 10. The first term is already in base 10, 314 base 10. So I'll be leaving it as 314 minus the second term is in base 7. So to convert this to base 10, I'll be having 2 times the base number. So this will be 2 times 7 plus 5 times the base number. So this will be 5 times 7 plus 6 times the base number. So this will be 6 times 7. So starting from the right to the left, I'll be giving increasing powers. So this will be power of 0, 1, 2. So I've successfully converted this into base 10. Onto the right hand side is equal to now 340 to base 10. 340 base n to base 10 is 3 times n plus 4 times n. Okay, so we have a plus. Let's just write everything on this side. 4 times n plus 0 times n. So starting from the right to the left, I'll be giving increasing powers like I did before. So this will be 0, 1, 2. So simplifying the whole equation, I should have 314 minus open bracket. You have 2 times 7 raised to the power of 2. So this is 2. 7 raised to the power of 2 is 49 plus you have 5 times 7 to the power of 1. 5 times 7 is 35 plus 6 times 7 raised to the power of 0. 7 raised to the power of 0 is 1. So 6 times 1 is 6. And this is equal to 3 times n squared is 3n squared plus 4 times n to the power of 1 is 4n plus 0 times n to the power of 0. N to the power of 0 is 1 times 0. So we have plus 0 here. So let's simplify this further. I'm getting 314 minus open bracket 2 times 49 is 98 plus 35 plus 6, and then this is equal to 3n squared plus 4n. 314 minus 98 plus 35 plus 6, 139 here. And then this is equal to 3n squared plus 4n. So let's clean up space here. On the left side, we have 175 is equal to 3n squared plus 4n. So if you move 175 over to the other side, we'll have something of a quadratic equation. So this is 3n squared plus 4n minus 175 is equal to 0. So we can solve this equation through the quadratic formula. So this is the quadratic formula that will give us our value for n. So where a, from this equation, our a is given as equal to 3, our b is given as equal to 4, our c is given as minus 175. So for time purpose, I will just be assuming that I've plugged all of this into this formula. So if you plug all of this into this formula and then you solve, your n should be equal to 7 or minus 25 over 3. One of the things I want to know is that number bases cannot be negative numbers. So we have to discard this negative number here and pick the positive number. So n is equal to 7. So the answer to our problem is A. Let's move on to the next question. For the second question, we are asked to find the difference between this number, correct for significant figures, and the same number, correct for decimal places. So writing out the number, we have 1.867551. So we have to approximate it to 4 significant figures, first of all, and 4 decimal places. So to 4 significant figures, we are going to start counting from the first non-zero number of this number. So this is the first number, the second number, the third number, and then the fourth. So we have to approximate this number into this. A quick note on approximation is that every number from 0 to 4 is approximated to 0. And every number from 5 to 9 is approximated to 1. After taking our note of our 4 numbers here, we have to approximate 5 into this number. So if I'm approximating 5 into this number, it becomes 1. So 1 plus 7 in this case becomes 1.86. So this number becomes, I remember I approximated this into 1 and into this. So this becomes 1.868. So 4 significant figures. So for my second one of approximating 4 decimal places, I have my 1.86755. Now counting from my point onto the next 4 places, I have 1, 2, 3, 4. And I'll still do the same trick I did with my approximation. 5 approximated into 1 and added onto this number will become 6. So this is equal to 1.8676, and this is the equivalent in 4 decimal places. So our question requires us to subtract both terms out of each other. So I'm going to be did 1.868 minus 1.8676. So you can still add a 0 here, still the equivalent. So if I try to subtract this out, 0 cannot subtract 6, so I need to borrow 1 from here. So this becomes 10. 10 minus 6 is 4. So remember we took 1 out of here. So this is now a 7 actually. So 7 minus 7 is 0. 6 minus 6 is 0. 8 minus 8 is 0. And then we bring down our points. And then this is 0. So from here, we have how many zeros? 1, 2, 3, 4. So we can write it in standard form by saying 4 times 10 raised to the power of minus 4. So our answer in this question is B. Let's move on to the next question. For the third question, in an examination, all candidates offered at least 1 of English and French. If 50% offered French and 65% offered English, what percentage offered French only? So there are some keywords I want you to note. English only, French only, French, and English. So these kind of problems traditionally can be solved with a Venn diagram. I'll show you how all these words come into play in a Venn diagram. So let's draw two circles. We are drawing two circles primarily because we are dealing with two subjects here. Okay, so let's say this circle is for English and this circle is for French. If I say English only, that means I'm saying for this portion of the circle, this portion, not including this portion of the circle. If I say French only, I mean this portion of the circle, not including this portion. If I say French, then I mean everything here. Everything, including this portion, right? Everything here, the whole circle. And then if I say English, I mean everything here, including the middle, this portion. Okay. So for this problem, we're told that 52% offered French. So let's say French is 52%. And then 65% offered English. So English is 65%. They now ask us what percentage offered French only. One of the things we didn't take note of before was the people that offered both subjects. So the people that offered both subjects, let's call them X for both subjects. To get our X, to get people that offer English only, it makes sense to say people that offer English minus people that offer both subjects. And then to get people that offer French only, it makes sense to say people that offer French minus people that offer both subjects. So to know the total number of people, we add this portion of the circle and this portion of the circle and this portion of the circle. So we need to get English only plus French only plus both subjects is equal to total number. So to get our English only, 65% is simply saying 65 over 100, right? Okay, so this is simply 0.65. Okay, so this is 52%, which is 52 over 100, which is equal to 0.52. Can be said to be 0.65 minus people that offer both subjects plus people that offer French only, French minus people that offer both subjects to be 0.52 minus X. And then people that offer both subjects, we add them up. So what is the total number of people? Total number of people is the whole thing. So the whole thing as a fraction is 1. Okay, that's like 100%. So this is 1 and then 0.65, collecting like terms for the left hand side, plus 0.52 plus X minus X minus X is minus 2X. And then this is equal to 1. I'd say 0.65 plus 0.52 is 1.17 minus X is equal to 1. So if clear up space, we had 1.17 minus X is equal to 1. 1.17 moving over to the other side becomes minus X is equal to 1 minus 1.17. So this is X is equal to minus X 0 minus 0.17. Dividing both sides by minus, you have X is equal to 0.17. So we've now gotten the number of people that offer both subjects. So to get the number of people that offered French only, we know that for French only, like we said before, you have to subtract people that offered French as a whole minus people that offered both subjects. So that would be 0.52 minus 0.17. So 0.52 minus 0.17 is 0.35. In decimal place, in percentage, this becomes 35%. So our answer is B. For number 4, we're given the question, find the range of values of x satisfying the inequalities 2x minus 5 less than 7 and 25 plus 2x greater than 15. So I'll be solving these two inequalities differently. So for the first inequality, we have 2x minus 5 less than 7. So this is 2x less than 5 going to the other side becomes 7 plus 5. So you have 2x less than 7 plus 5 is 12. So dividing both sides by 2. So 2 cancels 2, and then we have x is less than 6. For the second inequality, we have 25 plus 2x greater than 15. 25 going to the other side becomes 2x greater than 15 minus 25. So 2x is greater than 15 minus 25 is minus 10. Dividing both sides by 2, you have x is greater than minus 5. Now, you need to take these two values into account. Okay, so we know that x is greater than minus 5. As minus 5 is less than x, and x is less than 6. So we kind of combined the two inequalities to give us a unified answer, which is in this form. So for the fifth question, we have, if the eighth term of an AP is 3 times the second term, and the sum of the first 3 terms is 18, find the first term of the AP. So there's a very important formula I want you to know. So if you're looking for a particular term of an AP, say the nth term, that term can be given as a plus open bracket n minus 1 times d. If I'm looking for the fourth term and I plug in 4 into this formula, my fourth term would be equal to a plus 3d. Or I'm looking for the second term. My second term would be equal to a plus d. Okay, so this is the logic that you're going to use to solve this problem. Now this problem consists of 2 equations. The first is if the eighth term of an AP is 3 times the second term. So the eighth term of an AP is simply a plus 7d. And they are saying that it is equal to 3 times the second term. So the second term, 3 times second term. Second term is a plus d. So we already have one equation. And then for the second one, they said the sum of the first 3 terms is 18. So the first term is a plus the next term is a plus d. The third term is a plus 2d. And this is equal to 18. So this is another equation. So they said we should find the first term of the AP. The first term is often given as a. So let's pick equation 1 and solve it first. So from equation 1, we have a plus 7d is equal to 3 times a is 3a plus 3 times d is 3d. We are going to be moving the a's and the d's on either side of the equation. So this will be a minus 3a is equal to 3d minus 7d. So let's clean up space. So we have minus 2a is equal to minus 4d. So subtracting, dividing both sides by minus 2 becomes a is equal to minus 4 divided by minus 2 is 2d. Now let's go to equation 2. Equation 2 is giving us a plus d plus a plus 2d is equal to 18. Let me clean up space. So if we add up all the a's and d's, we get 3a plus 3d is equal to 18. So we know that A is equal to 2d. So that means that D is equal to A over 2. Okay, so we know that 3A plus, I'm going to be replacing D with A over 2 here. So this is 3 open bracket A over 2 is equal to 18. So 3A plus 3A over 2 is equal to 18. Let's move the analysis over to this side. So if you take the LCM for both of this here, you get 2 divided by 2 times 3A plus 3A is equal to 18. So this becomes 2 times 3A, 6A plus 3A, 9A is equal to 18 over 2. Cross multiplying, you have 9A is equal to 36. Dividing both sides by 9, A is equal to 4. So the first term of the arithmetic progression given in this question is equal to 4. So our answer is A. Let's move on to the next question. For example 6, we have for a chord of a circle of radius 10 centimeter is drawn 8 centimeter from the center of the circle. Find the length of the chord. Let's say you have a circle. The circle is pretty rough, but a chord is any line that separates the circle into two. And this said circle here is, let's say this is the center, and then our chord is around here. Okay, because they said a chord of a circle of radius 10 centimeter, does the radius from here to each part of the end of the circle is 10 cm. So we can agree that the radius from here to here is 10 cm, and then the radius from here to here is still 10 cm. So a chord of a circle of radius 10 cm is drawn 8 cm from the center of the circle. So 8 cm from the center of the circle is about this length. So the height, the distance from here to this point is 8 cm. Okay, find the length of the chord. So if we know that here to here is 8 cm, here to here, and then here to here, we have a triangle already, and then each of these triangles have a property that makes them a right angle triangle. So we can use Pythagoras theorem to find this point x here and then this point, and then we can add them together to give us the length of our chord. So we can agree that length of our chord is equal to 2 times x. But to find x, we need to use the Pythagoras theorem. So the Pythagoras theorem, this is our hypotenuse, so this is 10 square is equal to the other two sides is x and 8. So x squared plus 8 squared. So you can see x squared, moving 8 square over to the other side, it becomes negative 8 square. So 10 squared minus 8 squared. So 10 squared is 100 minus 64. 8 times 8 is 64. So 100 minus 64 is 36. We can see x is equal to the square root of 36. Now x is equal to 6 centimeter. So the length of our chord is equal to 2 times 6, which is equal to 12 centimeters. So our answer is C. Let's get on to the next question. For question 7, we are asked to find the equation of a line which passes through this point and is perpendicular to this line. Okay, so I'd like to draw a 2D plane to show you an illustration. So this is your y-axis and your x-axis. So let's say our line is this. This may not be the true way the line is aligned, but let's just say this is it. 4x plus 2y plus 1. Okay, and then now said another line is perpendicular to this line. So the perpendicular line should be something like this. So this line makes a 90-degree angle with this line. So the perpendicular line is what we are looking for, and point, it passes through -2, 1. Okay, so let's assume that that point is this point. To find the equation of the second line, we need to use the first line. For the first line, we have 4x minus 2y plus 1 is equal to 0. Now, this is the general form equation of a line. So, next up, I need to convert this form to the slope-intercept form equation of a line, so that I can know my slope of this line. To do that, I need to make y surjector formula. So I'll be saying 2y is equal to, moving 4 and 1 to the other side, we have -4x minus 1. Dividing both sides by -2. -2. This cancels out this, and then y is equal to -4 divided by -2 is 2x plus half. So that this is now our slope-intercept form. This is the slope of our line, and this is the intercept of our line. So that we can now see that the slope for this red line here is, let's call the red line 1, and then let's call this line 2. So let's say the slope for the red line is m1 equals to 2. And when two lines are perpendicular to each other, like is shown here, m1 times m2 is equal to -1. So that to get the slope of our second line, we would say m2 is equal to 2 minus 1 divided by m1. So this is equal to -1 over 2. Let's clean up space. So for our second line, we have two information that we know. We know that m2 is equal to -1 over 2, and we know a point on the line, -2 and 1. So when you know the slope of a line and you know the point of a line, you can get the equation of the line. So when you know the slope of the line and the point of the line, there's a formula that you can use. Y minus y1 is equal to m open bracket x minus x1. So this is the slope points form of the line. So y minus y1 is this point. So this is 1, and then this is equal to m is -1 over 2 open bracket x is x, and then x1 is -2. Let's clean up space. Working on this equation, we have y minus 1 is equal to half times x is minus half x. So minus half times minus opening this is +2. So minus half plus 2 is -1. So we have -1 on both sides. They can cancel out each other. So when we are moving the minus half x to the other side, it becomes y plus half x equals to 0. So you can multiply through by 2 here. So that this becomes 2 times y plus half x times 2 is equal to 0 times 2. So 2 cancels out 2. 2 times 0. 2 times y is 2y plus x. And then this is equal to 0 times 2 is 0. So the answer is 2y plus x is equal to 0. So B is our answer. Let's go to the next question. For question 8, we have if a line is parallel to the line, this line, and is perpendicular to this line, then we should find the value of r here. So there are two important information you need to know. When two lines are parallel, M1 and M2, the slope of the two lines or gradient is equal to each other. When they are perpendicular, the multiplication of their slopes is equal to -1. So this is for parallel situations, and this is for perpendicular situations. First of all, the first equation we have on our hands is 2y minus rx plus 4 is equal to 0. And then the second equation is 4y plus x minus 28 is equal to 0. For the first equation, our line is parallel to this line. So I'd like to change this to the slope-intercept form. Solving this, I'll be saying 2y is equal to moving r and y to the other side, rx minus 4. So that this becomes y is equal to rx divided by 2 minus 4 over 2. So this is y is equal to r over 2x minus 2. So we have our slope. Now remember that the line that we are looking for has an equivalent slope to this line. So let's call it ML is equal to r over 2. So we know the slope of the line that we are looking for. And then for the second equation, we need to change this to the slope-intercept form too. So this is 4y plus x minus 28 is equal to 0. So making y subject to formula, we have 4y is equal to minus x plus 28. So y is equal to minus x over 4 plus 28 over 4. So the slope of our perpendicular line to our line, let's call it MP, because it's perpendicular to our line, is equal to -1 over 4. So the slope of our line and this line is perpendicular. So we can say that the slope of our line times the perpendicular line to our line is equal to -1. So that we have r over 2 times -1 over 4 is equal to -1. So if you multiply these two things together, you have r over 8 minus r over 8 is equal to -1. Let's clean up space. Minus r is equal to, cross multiplying these two values here, you have -8. So you can divide both sides by -1. So the r becomes 8. So the answer is B. Let's move on to the next question. For question 9, we're told to find the first derivative of y, open bracket 2 plus 3x, open brackets, raised to the power of 4, at x is equal to -1. So the first thing we need to do, we write out the function y is equal to, open bracket, 2 plus 3x to the power of 4. So to solve this problem, we have to use something called the chain rule. That's because we have a function. The function is 2 plus 3x inside another function, which is to the power of 4. So we need to assign the inner function to another value. So let's here is equal to 2 plus 3x. We have here equal to 2 plus 3x. That means y is equal to u to the power of 4. So if I do dy du, basically taking the derivative of y, it becomes, the power comes down, so it becomes 4u, 4 minus 1. So this becomes 4 times u to the power of 3. So for the second part, I have du dx, which is equal to, differentiating a constant is basically 0 plus differentiating 3x is 3 times 1 times x. X has a power of 1 here. So this is 1 minus 1. 1 minus 1 is x to the power of 0. So we have 3 times x to the power of 0 is 1. We have 3. For our chain rule, dy dx, which is the original differentiation we wanted to make, is equal to dy du times du dx. So we found these two values already. Okay, so if you notice, this value can cancel out this one to still give us our dy dx. This is the chain rule. From here we can say dy dx is equal to 4u cubed times 3, right? So this is equal to 12u cubed. Remember that u is equal to this value, so this becomes equal to 12 open bracket 2 plus 3x cubed. Okay, so from here we know that dy dx is this value. So at x is equal to -1, we plug in -1 into this equation here, so that dy dx becomes, at x equal to -1, is equal to 12 open bracket 2 plus 3 open bracket -1 cube, which is equal to 12 open bracket 2 plus -3 is -1 cubed. So we have 12 times -1 cube is -1, so 12 times -1 is equal to -12. So the answer is B. Let's move on to the next problem. Then we're told to find the minimum value of the function f of x is equal to x squared minus 4x plus 5 in the interval 1 to -1. So when you are finding something like the minimum value or the maximum value of a function in an interval, the minimum value or maximum value is most likely to occur at the extreme point and at the turning point. We already know the extreme point of the function, but we do not know the turning point of the function. Now, to get the turning point of the function, we need to do a derivative of this. We have a function of y, let's say y is equal to x squared minus 4x plus 5. So the derivative of this is dy dx, and this is equal to, if you differentiate this, x squared becomes 2x, and then 4x becomes -4. To find turning point is to simply find points where dy dx is equal to 0. So 2x minus 4 is equal to 0. And then this means that 2x is equal to 4 and x is equal to 4 divided by 2. So this is equal to 2. That means the turning point occurs at x is equal to 2. If you check the interval that we're asked to find the minimum value for, 1 to -1 is the interval we are asked to find the minimum value for. Now, if you notice, the turning point does not fall within this interval, so we'll not be considering the turning point when doing analysis. We are considering the extreme points. To find f of 1, the first extreme point, f of 1 is equal to 1 squared minus 4 open bracket 1 plus 5. This is equal to 1 squared minus 4 plus 5. So this is equal to 2, and then f of -1 is equal to -1, we have square minus 4 open bracket minus 1 plus 5. So this is equal to -1 squared is 1, -1 times 4 is plus, -1 times -4 is plus 4 plus 5. So this is equal to 10. Now if you look at these two values, the one that has the minimum value is the answer, or the one that has smallest value for the interval. So that's for f of 1. The minimum value is simply 2 for the interval. The answer is A. So for question 11, We are told that a company needs to select 3 different headset phones from 5 different Nokia brands and 2 different types of Samsung brands. In how many ways can the company choose the headsets so as to include one Samsung brand? So when you are talking about selections of something from another thing, you can solve problems like that using combinations in the form of combinatorial coefficients of n combination r. Basically what you're selecting from and the number you're going to select from. Okay, so this is what you are selecting from, number of selections. The combinatorial coefficient of n combination r can be rewritten as n combination n factorial divided by open bracket n minus r close brackets factorial and then r factorial. So if you have these 2 values, you can rewrite them as this. Okay, so apart from knowing that we can deal with this problem with combinations, we need to understand the logic behind this question before using combinations to solve the problem. So we are told that we are going to make 3 selections, and then to make those 3 selections we have some set of things to pick from. So we have 5 Nokia brands to pick from, 5 Nokia brands, and we also have 2 Samsung brands. But then the question also tells us that we have to pick at least one Samsung brand. Okay, we have to pick at least one Samsung brand. So that would mean that if you have to pick at least one Samsung brand for 3 selections, that would mean that is either we pick one Samsung brand and 2 Nokia, or we might pick 2 Samsung brands and 1 Nokia. Okay, so if you notice, the numbers add up to 3 for the 2 parts: 1 Samsung brand or 2 Nokia, or 2 Samsung brand and 1 Nokia. We cannot pick 0 Samsung brands because the question literally requires us to pick at least one Samsung brand, and we cannot pick 3 Samsung brands because we are limited by the number of Samsung brands that we can choose. So we can rewrite this in combinatorial equation form by saying this is equal to 1 Samsung brand to pick 1 Samsung brand. The available Samsung brands to pick 1 Samsung brand from is 2, and then you're going to say combination 1. Okay, and then and logically represents multiplication. So 2 Nokia brands. We are picking 2 Nokia brands from 5 Nokia brands. Okay, so 5 combination 2. Or logically is plus. So this is plus 2 plus, and then 2 Samsung brands from 2 Samsung brands. It's simply stating 2 combination 2, and is multiplication, so times, and then 1 Nokia brand from 5 Nokia brands is 5 combination 1. So solving this equation, we have, let's clean up space, 2 combination 1 is 2 factorial divided by 2 minus 1 comma factorial, and then 1 factorial, times 5 combination 2 is 5 factorial divided by 5 minus 2 factorial, 2 factorial, plus we have 2 factorial divided by 2 minus 2 factorial, close bracket factorial, times 5 factorial divided by 5 minus 1 close bracket factorial, 1 factorial. Okay, so if you solve this, you should get 2, 1 can cancel out themselves here, so we have only 5 here, and then this can cancel out this, so we have 1 here, and then this can cancel out this, so that 2 can go into this, so we have 2 here, and then basically 2 divided by 1 is still 2. So here's 2. So we have 2 times, we have 5 times 2 here. 5 times 2 plus, here is 1. 1 times, here is 5. 5. Okay. So this is equal to 2 times 5 times 2 is 10 plus, 2 times 5 times 2 is 20 plus 5. So 20 plus 5 is equal to 25. So the possible number of ways that we can choose at least one Samsung brand is 25 ways. So the answer is B. For number 12, the average of 3 numbers is 32 base 5. If the sum of the first 2 numbers is 131 base 4, find the third number in base 6. So the average of 3 numbers. So let's say number x plus y plus z is, the average will be divided by 3 is equal to 2 base 5. If the sum of the first 2 numbers is 131 base 4. So let's say these 2 numbers, their sum is 131 base 4. So our numbers will become 131 base 4 plus the number that we do not know divided by 3 is equal to, they said we should find the third number, which is z here. So 32 base 5. To solve this problem, to find z, we need to convert every base number to base 10. So first convert 131 base 4 to base 10. We have 1 times 4 plus 3 times 4 plus 1 times 4. So from the right to the left, I'll be giving 4 increasing powers. So this is 0, 1, 2 plus, we are told the base of z to be base 6. Z times 6. We have only one value here, z times 6. So from left to the right, we'll be starting from 0. So z is now in base 10. Divided by 3. And then this is equal to 32 base 5 to base 10 becomes 3 times 5 plus 2 times 5 to the power of 0 to the power of 1. So that if we solve this, 1 times 4 raised to the power 2 is 16 plus 3 times 4 raised to the power 1 is 12 plus 1 times 4 raised to the power 0. Raised to the power 0 is 1, so plus 1 divided by 3. Z times is plus z. So this is equal to 3 times 5 raised to the power 1 is 15 plus 2 times 5 raised to the power 0 is 2. Let's clean up space. So adding up these numbers here, we have 16 plus 12 plus 1, which is 29 plus z divided by 3, and this is equal to 15 plus 2 from here is 17. So cross multiplying, we have 29 plus z is equal to 51. Okay, so that z is equal to 51 minus 29. 51 minus 29 is 22. So remember, z was in base 10. So this 22 base 10. So we have to convert this back to base 6. So to do that, we have a conversion table here and then 6 on the other side. So 6 divided by 22 is 3, remainder 4. 6 divided by 3 doesn't go through, so it's 0, remainder 3. You pick the 3 back here. So we write the number from the bottom to the top. So we know that 22 base 10 is equal to 34 base 6. So the answer is B. We have 3 times the second term plus the 7th term of an AP is equal to the 12th term. Find the relationship between the first term A and the common difference D. One thing I want you to know is that find a term for an arithmetic progression. Let's say you're finding the nth term. The formula is a plus open bracket n minus 1d. So you're simply subtracting the nth term here. So if I'm looking for the fourth term, let's say I'm looking for my fourth term, I would be saying a plus, subtracting 4 here, 4 minus 1 is 3, 3d. If I'm looking for my fifth term, I'll be saying a plus 4d. Okay, so basically if you notice the d value, the coefficient of d, the coefficient is this number before d, is 1 minus the term that you're looking for. Considering this problem, 3 times our second term, okay, so we're looking at 3 times our second term plus the 7th term. So 7th term is equal to the 12th term. So we have 12th term. So if we do that, if we take the same idea and apply it to this, we have 3 open brackets. The second term of an arithmetic progression is a plus d plus the 7th term is a plus 6d. The 12th term is a plus 11d. So from here, if we expand the brackets, we have 3a plus 3 times d is 3d plus a plus 6d is equal to a plus 11d. Okay, so 3a, a cancels out a here on both sides of the equation, and then 3a plus 3d plus 6d is 9d is equal to 11d. Moving d over to the other side, we have 3a plus 9d minus 11d, which is equal to 0. So we have 3a plus 9d minus 11d becomes minus 2d is equal to 0. So the answer is A. For the question 14, we have a fence of 36 meters is built to make 3 sides of a rectangular compound, the fourth side being a building. Find the possible length of the shorter side of the compound if the area enclosed is 160 meters squared. So to solve this question, I feel that it is important to have a visual representation. So let's say this is our house. We have a house, a building. So this is our building. And then they said the building has 3 sides that make up the fence of the compound, because they said a fence of 36 meters is built to make 3 sides of a rectangular compound. So these are the 3 sides of the fence. So let's say this is the length of the fence, and then this is the breadth. Notice the part we are taking note of is this part, because this is the compound of the fence. This is the compound. So this is the breadth. Okay. Now the breadths are the shorter sides of the compound, and then the length are the longer sides. The fence is 36 meters. So basically, this plus this plus this is 36 meters. So that means we are saying 2b plus L is equal to 36 meters. The area enclosed by the compound is 160 meters squared. So the area of a rectangle naturally is length times breadth, which is equal to 160. Okay, so the question demands us to find the breadth of the compound. To find the breadth of the compound, we need to find b from these 2 equations. So taking, let's say this is equation 1 and this is equation 2. So we have LB is equal to 160 from equation 2. so that L becomes 160 over B. Okay, so that this is, let's call the equation 3, and then we are plugging equation 3 into equation 1, plugging equation 3 into 1. So from there we have 2B plus the value of L is 160 over B is equal to 36. Multiplying through by B, we have 2B times B plus 160 over B times B is equal to 36 times B. So we have 2B squared plus B cancel out B, and then this 160 is equal to 36 times B is 36B. Let's clean up space. So we have 2B squared minus 36B plus 160 is equal to 0. Now this is a quadratic equation. We can use the quadratic formula and say B is equal to minus B plus minus square root of B squared minus 4AC over 2A. Okay, let me clean up more space. From this equation, our A value is equal to 2, our B value is equal to minus 36, our C value is equal to 160. So if you plug all these values into the quadratic equation, you should be getting B is equal to 10 or 8. Okay, so that means B, the possibility of this getting these values is that B is equal to 10 meters or 8 meters. So our answer is D. So let's move on to the next question. For question 15, we have a bag contains 4x First Bank ATM cards, 2x minus 1 UBA ATM cards, and 3 from bracket x plus 1 Zenith Bank cards. Probability of picking a First Bank card is 2 over 3. How many UBA ATM cards are in the bag? So let's write out the given values. So we know that we have 4x of First Bank cards, First ATM cards, and we know that we have 2x minus 1 UBA ATM cards. And then we know that we have 3 open brackets x plus 1 Zenith ATM cards. So the total number of cards that we have is simply 4x plus 2x minus 1 plus 3 open bracket x plus 1. So we are simply adding together all the ATM cards that we have to get the total number of ATM cards. So this is equal to 4x plus 2x is 6x minus 1 plus 3x plus 3 opening these brackets plus 3. So this is equal to 9x plus 2. So this is the total number of ATM cards. Total ATM cards. So if you notice, we have an issue. We do not know the values of x, but the question provides a way to find it. It says the probability of picking a First Bank ATM is 2 over 5. Probability of an event happening is number of possible outcomes over total number of outcomes. That simply means that if we know that the probability of picking a First Bank ATM card is 2 over 5, that could simply mean that the ATM cards, number of ATM cards, which is number of possible ATM cards for First Bank, is 4x divided by total number of ATM cards equal to 9x plus 2. So to find the value of x from this equation, we can cross multiply, and then we have 9x plus 2 from bracket 2 is equal to 4x times 5. Expanding this bracket, 2 times 9 is 18x plus 2 times 2 is 4. This is equal to 4x times 5 is 20x. Moving 18x to the other side, we have 20x minus 18x is equal to 4. So we have 2x is equal to 4, and this implies that x is equal to 4 over 2, which is equal to 2. The question is, how many UBA ATM cards are in the bag? So to know how many UBA ATM cards are in the bag, let's clean up space first. We simply need to substitute the value of x into this equation. So that means we have 2x minus 1. This is the number of UBA ATM cards. So we have 2 open bracket 2 minus 1. So 2 times 2 is 4 minus 1, which is 3. So we have 3 UBA ATM cards in the bag. So the answer is A. Let's go on to the next question. For question 16, we are told to express the product of 0.000128 and 0.00125 in standard form. So for our first value, 0.00128, we can convert this to standard form immediately by moving these points to here. There's one movement, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So in standard form, we can write this as 128. Remember, we moved the point up to this point, times, and moved it 6 times, times 10 raised to power minus 6. Okay? So for our second number, we have 0.00125 equals to, so moving this point again, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this is 125 times 10 to the power minus 5. Okay, so multiplying these two, I would have 128 times 125 times 10 raised to the power minus 6 times 10 raised to the power minus 5. I'll deal with this one separately and deal with this one separately. 128 times 125 is 16,000. So times 10 to the power of minus 6 times 10 to the power of minus 5. Now 16,000 has 1, 2, 3, 4 points. I can move the points onto the left hand side too. So this is 1, moving the points, 2, 3, 4. So this can be 16,000 can be written as 1.6. Because I'm moving the points from the right to the left, it is now times 10 to the power of 4. So if I'm moving the point from the left to the right, it is negative. To be counting in negatives. But if I'm moving the points from the right to the left, it will be counting in positives. So this is times 10 minus 6 times 10 minus 5. So this is still equal to 1.6 times 10. From indices, you have minus 6 minus 5 plus 4. So this is 1.6 times 10 to the power, this is minus 11 plus 4. So this is 1.6 times 10 to the power of minus 7. So the answer is C. For question 17, we are asked to make x the subject of formula of the relation y is equal to 3 minus ln x. So our given function is y is equal to 3 minus ln x. So to make x subject of formula, we can move 3 over to the other side. So this becomes minus ln x is equal to y minus 3. So I can divide both sides by -1. So this is -1 divided by -1. So this ln x is equal to -1 dividing y. So this becomes -1 like this, and then -1. So this is still equal to minus y plus 3. So ln x is 3 minus y. To cancel out this ln here, we have to bring in an exponent on both sides. So taking the exponential on both sides, we have exponential ln x is equal to exponential 3 minus y. So ln can cancel out exponential, so that x is equal to exponential 3 minus y. So the answer is A. For question 18, a student dropped an object from a building 100 meters high. If the height of the object above the ground after t seconds is 100 plus 4.9 t square meters, how fast is it falling 3 seconds after it is dropped? So the height from the ground is 100 meters, and then the height from the ground, this was before dropping, and the height from the ground after dropping is 100 plus 4.9 t squared meters. How fast is the ball falling? So basically we are asked the velocity of the ball after 3 seconds. To get the velocity of the ball, we need to take the derivative of the height. Velocity is equal to dh over dt. This is a normal relationship, okay? So dh over dt here, the constant becomes 0. So differentiating 4.9 t squared, we have 4.9 times 2 times c squared plus minus 1. So this is equal to 4.9 times 2 is 9.8 t. 2 minus 1 is 1, so 9.8 t. So the velocity is equal to 9.8 t. So after 3 seconds, 9.8 times 3 is now equal to 29.4 meter per second. Okay, so the answer is C. For number 19, an investor who invested 6,500 at a simple interest rate collected a total amount of 7,800 after 4 years. How much simple interest would he have collected after 2 years if he had invested 9,000 naira? First of all, I want you to notice that this question is divided into 2 parts. So this is the first part, and then this part is the second part. For the first part, let's write out the parameters. So we are told that the investor invested 6,500 naira. So this is called a principal, and we write 6,500 naira at some simple interest rates. We are not told this interest rate, so the interest rate is what we don't know. Collected a total amount of 7,800 naira. So both his principal plus his interest is equal to 7,800 naira after 4 years. So that happened after 4 years. So the time is 4 years. For the second portion of the question, how much simple interest would he have collected after 2 years if he had invested 9,000 naira? So the second part of the question required us to know the interest rate. So we are going to use the first part of the question to find the interest rate and then use it to solve the second part of the question. For the first part of the question, the formula relating principal time rate is I is equal to P R T over 100. Okay, so we do not know our I exactly, but we know our P. So this implies that I is equal to 7,800 minus 6,500, which is equal to 1,000 300. Okay, so that from here to solve for r is equal to 100i divided by PR. So this is equal to 100 times I, which is 1,300, divided by P is 6,500 times R, sorry, this C is C. So C is 4 equal to, if you use a calculator for that, you should get 5. So the simple interest rate is 5. Now let's move to the second part of the question. So for the second part of the question, we are asked how much simple interest. Okay, so we are looking for the interest. So the interest is what we do not know. And then would he have collected after 2 years? So the time period we are looking at is 2 years. If he had invested 9,000 naira, so the principal is 9,000 naira. Now we already know the interest rate from here, so the interest rate is 5%. Okay, so to calculate for the simple interest, we are simply going to still use I is equal to PRT. So that I is equal to P is 9,000 times R is 5 times T is 2 divided by 100. So the I is equal to, let's clean up space, I is equal to 9,000 times 5 times 2, 90,000 divided by 100. So zeros cancels out zeros, zeros cancels out 0. So I can simply be stated as 900 naira. So the simple interest, he would have gotten a simple interest of 900 naira in 2 years. So the answer to this question is D. Let's move on to the next problem. For question 20, we are asked to differentiate open bracket cos theta plus sin theta squared with respect to theta. So let's assign this to a function. I will say y is equal to open bracket cos theta plus sin theta squared. Okay, so we have a function. This is the function of a function, another function problem here. Okay, so we need to use the chain rule to solve this. To do that, we need to assign this inner value to another value. So I will say let u is equal to cos theta plus sin theta. Okay, so that y becomes equal to u squared. So I have two functions in my hand. Okay, so I will simply be saying dy d theta, which is the original differentiation for this one, is equal to dy du, the one for this one, times du over d theta, the one for this one. Okay, so it's still the same thing. Du can cancel out du to still give you this. So to first get this value, dy du is equal to 2u. Okay, and then du d theta is equal to cos theta. Differentiating cos theta, we have minus sin theta. Differentiating sin theta, we have plus cos theta. So this can be written as cos theta minus sin theta. Okay, so du d theta. Okay, so now we can now multiply both these two. Okay, so we can say dy d theta is equal to 2u times cos theta minus sin theta. I'm bracketing that. Let me clean up space. So if you remember, dy d theta, if you remember, u value is cos theta plus sin theta times cos theta minus sin theta. Now if you look at these two brackets, there is a difference between 2 squared between them. So this becomes 2 open brackets cos squared theta minus sin squared theta. So this is a trigonometric identity. So this trigonometric identity can be referred to or can be rewritten as equal to 2 cos 2 theta. So this trigonometric identity is equal to cos 2 theta. The answer to this problem is A. Let's go to the next problem. For question 21, the question says if the sum of the roots of the equation 2x squared minus 5px plus 8 is equals 5 is 5 times the product of the roots, find the value of p. Okay, so first of all, let's write the equation we are dealing with. So we have 2x squared minus 5px plus 8 is equal to 0. So the idea that we're dealing with is the sum of the roots of this equation. Okay, so the sum of roots is equal to 5 times the product of roots. 5 times product of roots. When you have a quadratic equation, naturally, see, this is general form of quadratic equation formula: ax squared plus bx plus c is equal to 0. There's a formula for getting the sum of roots and the product of roots. So if you have your roots as, say, x1, we're just assuming that these are roots x1 plus x2 for this quadratic equation, you can say that is minus b over a. Okay, and then if you have your formula of x, the two roots multiplying each other, okay, so this would still be the same thing as c divided by a. So this is for sum of roots and this is for products of roots. So this can apply to any quadratic equation. Okay, so we can use the same thing here. So for this equation, our a value is 2, our b value is minus 5p, our c value is 8. So we can use this idea here now. Okay, so we know that our sum, using the same idea, this idea is to know that our sum of roots is minus b over a. So that's minus, open brackets, minus 5p divided by a, which is 2, is equal to 5 times product of roots. So product of roots here is c over a. So c is 8 divided by a is 2. So this simply implies that if you have minus times minus, you have 5p over 2 is equal to 5 times 8 over 2. So we know that 5 over 2 can cancel out 5 over 2 here. So that p can be equal to 8. Okay, so p is equal to 8. So our answer to this question is C. So for question 22, we are asked to find the area of the region enclosed by the curve y is equal to 2 minus x squared and the line y is equal to minus x. So to solve this question, I feel you need to understand what's going on here. So this is your axis, your graph. Okay, so we have the y-axis and the x-axis. Now, if you plot y is equal to minus x on this graph, you get something like this. Y is equal to minus x. Let's call it y is equal to minus x. Okay, and then if you had to plot another graph of something like this, you get this graph is the graph of y is equal to minus 2x squared. So in the question, we're asked find the area here, this area. Okay, so to find the area, you need to know where it starts and where it ends in our graph. So our area starts from here and then ends here. So these 2 points are simply the intersection points. Okay, so at the intersection points, the two functions equal to each other. So this guy, this curve is equal to this. So we can easily say y is equal to 2x, 2 minus x squared is still the same thing as y is equal to minus x at this point. Okay, so we can equate some of them and say 2 minus x squared is equal to minus x. So that if we move the x and the 2 to the other side, we'll have something like x squared minus x minus 2 is equal to 0. So we have a typical quadratic equation here. Okay, so if you solve this, if you want to solve this, you have to find two factors. So this times this is minus 2x squared. The two factors that can add up to this and multiply up to this is minus 2x and x. So to factorize this, we have x squared minus 2x plus x minus 2 is equal to 0. So factorizing the first two terms, we have x open bracket x minus 2 plus the common term here is 1 open bracket x minus 2 is equal to 0. So this and this together is x plus 1, and then for this one x minus 2 is equal to 0. So from here you can say, okay, x is equal to 1 and x is equal to 2. X equals to minus 1 and x equals to 2. Okay, so this point apparently is minus 1 and this point is 2. Okay, so how do we now find the area? So to find the area, we need to subtract this guy from this guy, this function from this function. Okay, so function of area, let's call it f of a. F of a is equal to function of curve FOC minus function of straight line. So let's call it FOL. Okay, so we simply are going to say function of area FOA, okay, is equal to 2 minus x squared minus open bracket minus x. Okay, so this is equal to 2 minus x squared minus x is 2 plus x minus x squared. So this behavior, this function of area should give us the behavior of inner, how find the area of this inner curve. Okay, so to really find the area, we need to use integration. So we are going to be integrating from this point to this point. Let's do that next. So for our integration, the area of the enclosed curve is equal to the integral of this function here. So the integral of this function is 2 plus x minus x squared, and then from minus 1 to 2, and then dx. Okay, so integrating this with respect to x is equal to, integrating to x, we have 2x. Integrating this, we have plus x squared divided by 2. Integrating this, we have minus x cubed divided by 3. And then we include our bounds. So the minus 1 is our lower bound and the 2 is our upper bound. So we are going to substitute these two values into this. Okay, so the area is equal to, for the upper bound, we have 2 to the power of 2 times 2. Yes, substituting it already, plus 2 squared divided by 2, and then minus 2 cubed divided by 3, and then everything substituted for the 2 already. So for the second part, we're going to be subtracting the upper bound from the lower bound. So this is now 2 bracket minus 1 plus minus 1 square over 2 minus 1 cube over 3. Okay, let's clean up space. So from here you have the area to be equal to 2 times 2 is 4 plus 2 can cancel out 2 here, so we have 2 minus 2 cube is 8 over 3. Okay, so this is minus, open bracket, 2 times minus 1 is minus 2, so plus 2 times minus 1 square here is 1 over 2, so this is minus 1 cube, minus, open bracket, minus 1 cube is then plus 1 over 3. Okay, so if you add up everything here, use your calculator and add up everything here, your area should be equal to 9 over 2. Okay, so our answer is D. Let's move on to the next question. For question 23, we are told that if x minus 1 is a factor of 3x cubed minus bx squared plus 5x minus 3b, find the value of p. So the factor that we're looking at is x minus 1, and then the polynomial equation that we're looking at is 3x cubed minus px squared plus 5x minus 3b. Let's assign this to a function of, say, f of x is equal to this polynomial. So if this is a factor of this equation, that means x is equal to 1. If you plug in x is equal to 1 into this equation, then f of x will be equal to 0. Okay, so we are going to be plugging x is equal to 1 into this equation, so that this will become f of 1 is equal to 3 open bracket 1 cube minus p open bracket 1 square plus 5 open bracket 1 minus 3p, and then this is equal to 0. Okay, so from here we have equal to 3 times 1 cube is 3 minus p times 1 square is p plus 5 times 1 is 5 minus 3p, and then all of this is equal to 0. So if you analyze this part, you have 3 plus 5, which is 8, minus p minus 3p is minus 4p, and this is equal to 0. So you have minus 4p is equal to minus 8, and then p is equal to minus 8 divided by minus 4, which is equal to 2. So that the answer to this question is B. In a school, 180 students offer math or physics or both. If 125 offer math and 105 offer physics, how many students offer math only? So these kind of questions are easily solvable when you have a Venn diagram. So we have a Venn diagram. So okay, so the Venn diagram is 2 circles because we have mainly physics or math. Okay, so let's this circle represent those that offer physics, and let this circle represent those that offer math. So the intersection of the circles is for those who that offer both subjects. So if you have this whole circle and people that offer physics, it makes sense to say people that offer physics only. People that offer physics only is equal to people that offer physics minus people that offer both. Okay, and then same thing for mathematics. It makes sense to say people that offer math only is people that offer mathematics minus people that offer both. Okay, so from there we can now say the people that offer physics only, because this is part for people that offer physics only, plus the people that offer both, plus the people that offer math only is equal to the total number of people. So we have a formula of, say, physics only plus math only plus both is equal to total. So let's write out the parameters from our question. So they said in a school, one student offered math or physics or both. So that means the total number of students total is 180. Okay, and then if 125 offer math, okay, so people that offer math is 125. That means people that offer math only is equal to 125 minus people that offer both. But in the question, we're not given the people that offer both, so we will denote it as x. So math only is 125 minus x. And then we're told that 105 offered physics. So physics has 105. And then physics only is equal to 105 minus people that offer both. So we'll see that it's x2. Okay, so we're now ready to add up everything. So we know that people that offer both is equal to x. So we are ready to use this formula and solve our question. So let's clean up space. So if we clean up space, people that offer physics only is 105 minus x plus people that offer math only is 125 minus x. People that offer both is plus x. And then people that offer the total amount is 180. So that if we add up these values, 105 plus 125 minus 2x plus x is equal to 180. So 105 plus 125 is 230. And then minus x, 2x plus x is minus x is equal to 180. So that this 230 going over to this side becomes x is equal to 180 minus 230 is minus x, by the way. So minus x is equal to 130 minus 230. 180 minus 230 is minus 50. Dividing both sides by -1, this implies that x is equal to 50. So that's to solve our question of how many students offer mathematics only. Let's clean up space. To solve our question of how many students offer mathematics only, we simply say math only is equal to 125 minus 50. So this is equal to 75. Let's go to the next question. For question 25, we ask to find the value of x for which 3 open brackets 2 exponential 2 to the power of 4x plus 3 close brackets is equal to 96. So let's bring out the equation. We have 3 open bracket 2 power of 4x plus 3 close bracket is equal to 96. So the first step we need to take is divide both sides by 3. This divided by 3, this divided by 3. This is 2 to the power of 4x plus 3, and then this is equal to 96 divided by 3 is 32. Now, to work on this, we need to make this base and this one. We need to make both sides have the same base number. Okay, so luckily 32 has a factor of 2. Okay, so we have 2 4x plus 3 is equal to 32, can be written as 2 to the power of 5. So Now we have equal base for both sides. We can now cancel out the base number 2 and 2. So this becomes, so bring down their powers and equate them to each other. So this is 4x plus 3 is equal to 5. So moving 3 to the other side, this is 4x is equal to 5 minus 3. So 4x is equal to 2, and then x is equal to 2 over 4. So divided by 4 is 1 over 2. The answer is C. For question 26, we are told that the cost of renovating a 5-meter square room is 500 naira. What is the cost of renovating a 10-meter square room? So, to solve this question, I think you need a visual representation of what you're doing. So, let's say this is a 5-meter square room. You have here to here is 5 meters, and then here is 5 meters. Okay, so the area of this is eventually equal to 5 times 5, which is 25 meters squared. Okay, so to renovate a 10-meter square room, we have, let's just say this is 10 meters, 10 meters, and this is 10 meters. Okay, that means we have the area of this to be equal to 10 times 10, which is equal to 100 meters square in area. Okay, so if the 5-meter square room cost us 500 naira to renovate for an area of 25 meters squared, then we're looking for how much the 10-meter square room, which is x naira, because we do not know, will cost us for renovating 100 meters square room. Okay, so eventually if you cross multiply here, you should get, let's move the analysis over to this side, you should get x times 25 is equal to 500 times 100. So we have x is equal to 500 times 100, which is 50,000 divided by 25. 50,000 divided by 25 is 2,000. So the price of renovating the 10-meter square room will be 2,000 naira. So our answer is C. Let's move on to the next question. For question 27, we ask find the rate of change of total surface area S of a sphere with respect to its radius when r is equal to 2. So to start off, we are going to see the surface area of a sphere is giving us equal to 4 pi r squared. So we ask to find the rate of change with respect to the radius. So the rate of change is simply ds over dr. ds over dr is a differentiating r, okay? So this is 4 times, the power comes down 2 times pi times r to the power of 2 minus 1. So this is equal to 4 times 2 is 8 times pi times r. Okay, so if r is equal to 2, if r equals 2, it implies that ds over dr is equal to 8 times 2 times pi. 8 times 2 times pi is 16 pi. So from our options, pi is represented as p, so the answer is simply p. Let's move on to the next. For question 28, we ask to differentiate open bracket cos theta plus sine theta square with respect to theta. So if you write it out as a function, you have f of theta is equal to open bracket cos theta plus sine theta square. You could still represent this as y. So you could say y is equal to cos, open bracket cos theta plus sine theta square. Now you have to solve this problem, you need to use the chain rule because you have a function inside a larger function. Okay, so we have to assign cos theta plus sine theta to another value. So select u is equal to cos theta plus sine theta, so that y is equal to u square, and then dy du is equal to 2u. Differentiating u with respect to theta here gives you du over d theta. Du over d theta. Differentiating cos theta is minus sine theta. Differentiating sine theta is plus cos theta. So this is equal to cos theta minus sine theta. Okay. So from here, we can do the original derivative of, say, dy over d theta is equal to dy over du times du over d theta. So that this equals to dy over d theta would equal to 2u times open bracket cos theta minus sine theta. So u is giving us this, so plug it back in. So this is cos theta plus sine theta. Then this is cos theta minus sine theta. If you look at these two brackets, this is a difference of 2 square. So simplifying this, you have 2 open brackets cos square theta minus sine square theta. So this is a trig identity. This trig identity can be written as, say, equal to 2. This trig identity can be written as cos 2 theta. So the answer to this problem is A. Let's move on to the next question. For question 29, we're told that a polynomial in x whose zeros are 2, 1, and minus 3. So we're told to find that polynomial. Now the zeros given is x is equal to 2 and x is equal to 1 and x is equal to minus 3. So from these zeros, we can easily get the factors of the polynomial. So moving this to the other side, x minus 2 is a factor, and moving this to the other side, x minus 1 is a factor. Moving this to the other side, x plus 3 is a factor. So to get the polynomial, we simply have to multiply all of them together. So I'll be picking these 2 first. So from there we have x minus 2 and then x minus 1. X times x is x squared. X times 1 is minus x. Minus 2 times x is minus 2x. Minus 2 times 1 is plus 2. So then we have x squared minus 3x plus 2. Okay. And then for the third one, multiply the results of these 2 to this one. So the third one is x plus 3. So I have x squared times x is x cubed. X squared times 3 is plus 3x squared. Minus 3x times x is minus 3x squared. Minus 3x times 3 is plus 9x. And then for the last one, 2 times x is plus 2x. And 2 times 3 is plus 6. So that I have this as equal to x cubed 3x squared cancel out, 3x squared. So this was negative 9x, because we had minus 3x times 3, which is minus 9x. So this is negative 9x plus 2x is minus 7x, and then plus 6. So the result that correlates to that is answer A. For question 30, we ask find the range of values of x for which 7x minus 3 greater than 3x plus 4. To solve this, we simply just have to solve the inequality. So inequality is 7x minus 3 greater than 3x plus 4. So that if we collect like terms, 7x moving 3x over to this side becomes minus 3x greater than 3 to the other side becomes 4 plus 3. So we knew that 7 minus 3 is 4x greater than 4 plus 3 is 7. Then x is greater than 7 over 4. So our answer is x is greater than 7 over 4. The option for that is B. Let's go to the next question. Okay, so for question 31, let P be the probability function in set S, where S is this, all of this values C1, C2, C3, C4. Find C3, probability of C3. If probability of C1 is this, probability of C2 is this, probability of C4 is this. So the only information you need to know is that the sum of the probabilities of all of this thing happening on this set, okay? So the sum of the probability of P of C i's, let's call them C i's, is equal to 1. So that's the only thing you need to know. This simply means that probability of C1 occurring plus the probability of C2 occurring plus the probability of C3 occurring plus the probability of C4 occurring is equal to 1. We are asked find probability of C3. So probability C3 is equal to 1 minus probability C1 minus probability of C2 minus probability of C4. Okay, so this is simply 1 minus probability of C1 from our question is 3 over 10 minus 3 over 10 minus probability of C2 from our question is 17 over 60, and then minus probability of C4 is 1 over 4. So this is equal to, so if you do your, and then if you substitute all of this, you should get 1 over 6. So the answer is simply C. So for question 32, we are asked to calculate the standard deviation of the following data. To calculate the standard deviation, we have to know this formula: square root of summation of x minus x bar square divided by n. There are very, very important information we need to know for starting analysis. Number one is the mean. The mean is given as x bar. So the mean is normally the summation of the x terms divided by the number of terms. Okay, so the summation of the x terms is all the summation of all these numbers, which is 7 plus 8 plus 9 plus 10 plus 11 plus 12 plus 13. All of this is divided by 7 because we have 7 numbers. So if you do the analysis of this, you should get 70 divided by 7. So our mean is equal to 10. So to get our x minus x bar, we need to draw a table that shows all our values. So we are going to be drawing our table on this part. So I'll be saying x, our x's are 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, and then our x minus x bar is 7 minus 10 is minus 3, 8 minus 10 is minus 2, 9 minus 10 is minus 1, 10 minus 10 is 0, 11 minus 10 is 1, 12 minus 10 is 2, 30 minus 10 is 3. So x minus x bar square is 3 square is 9, minus 2 square is 4, minus 1 square is 1, 0 square is 0, 1 square is 1, 2 square is 2, 3 square is 3 is 9, 2 square is 4, 3 square is 9. If you add everything up here, you now have summation of x minus x bar, okay, is equal to 28, okay, 28. And then we know that our number of terms is 7 already. So our standard deviation is equal to square root of 28 divided by 7. 28 divided by 7 is 4, square root of 4, and then this is equal to 2. So the answer to this question is A. Let's go on to the next question. For question 33, we are told that if W is the mode and Z is the median of the following set of numbers, then open bracket 3W, 2Z is. So there are things worth noting in this question. Number one is that we are told that W is attributed as the mode and Z is attributed as the median. Okay, so we need to get those values from these numbers. First of all, I would like to arrange the numbers in ascending order. So in ascending order, to arrange this number, I will be saying the first one is 1.6, comma, next one is 2.1, next one is 2.1, we have two 2.1s, and then we have 2.4, and then next is 2.6, 2.6, and then the next is 2.6, and then the next is 3.7. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 numbers. Okay, so for the mode, we need to look at the number that occurs the most. The number that occurs the most is 2.6. So the mode of our number W is simply equal to 2.6. And then for the median is the middle number. So for the middle number, we have 8 numbers. It falls between here and here. So for the median, which is Z, we're taking the average of 2.4 plus 2.6. So divided by 2, this is ultimately equal to 2.5. Okay. So we are given the instruction of multiplying the mode by 3 here and the median by 2. So this would mean that the 3W, 2Z is equal to 3 times W is 2.6, 2 times 2.5. So this is equal to 3 times 2.6. 3 times 2.6 is 7.8, 2 times 2.5 is 5. The answer that correlates to this is answer C. So let's move on to the next question. So for question 34, we are asked that a trapezium of two parallel sides of length 6 cm and 8 cm. If the area is 2 cm square, find the distance between the parallel sides. So first of all, we need to note the trapezium. What's a trapezium? So visually, a trapezium looks something like this. Okay, it's a bit rough, but you have this side parallel to this side, and then apparently this is the shorter side. So let's say this is 6 cm and this is 8 cm. So we are asked to find distance between the two parts, which is simply the height of the trapezium. And then for the area, we're given the area of the trapezium as equal to 42 cm squared. Luckily, there's a formula that relates area and the sides of a trapezium. So area of a trapezium is equal to half A plus B H. So here is simply, here to here is simply A, here to here is simply B. So the area of a trapezium is given as 42 is equal to 1 over 2 open bracket 6 plus 8. And then h. From here, we can simplify and say this implies that 42 is equal to 6 plus 8 is 14 divided by 2. We have 7h. So that h is equal to 42 divided by 7. So 42 divided by 7 is 6 centimeters. So the answer to this question is simply 6 centimeters. Let's go to another problem. So for question 35, we are asked that if an arc of a circle of length 22 cm suspends an angle of 3y degrees at the center of the circle, find the value of y if the radius of the circle is 7 centimeters. Okay, so from here we can see, let's draw a visual representation of what we're dealing with. So this is a circle, and then the center of the circle, so it eventually suspends an angle of 3y degrees. Okay, so the length of this arc is 22 cm, and then the radius we're looking at is 7 cm. We can get the angle here by using the formula for length of an arc. So formula for length of an arc is simply theta over 360 times 2 pi r. So that the theta here is given as equal to 3y degrees. So from there, our L, we know our L to be 22 centimeters. We know our R to be 7 centimeters. So if you're doing this analysis, you're plugging in values, you should get 22 is equal to 3y degrees divided by 360 times 2 times pi times r, which is 7. So that 3 into 360 is 120. So you have 22 is equal to y degrees divided by 120. 7 times 2 here is times 14 pi. We can say cross multiplying values, which can have y degrees times 14 pi is equal to 22 times 120. So from here, we can divide both sides by 14 pi. So we have 22 times 120 over 14 pi. Okay, so remember that pi is equal to 22 over 7. Okay, so pi is equal to 22 over 7. Let's clean up space here and continue our analysis. So that means that y degrees is equal to 22 times 120 divided by 14 times 22 over 7. So you have 22 cancelling out 22, and then you have 7 cancelling out 14. So you have 120, there's 2 here, 7 cancelling out 14 is 2. So you have 120 divided by 2, which is equal to 60 degrees. So the value for your y, which you were asked to find, is simply 60 degrees. Let's go to the next question. So for question 37, we are told that if x plus 1 is a factor of the polynomial 5x squared minus 4px plus 3, find the value of p. So the polynomial is given by, let's say, it's f of x is equal to 5x squared minus 4px plus 3. So we are saying that x plus 1 is a factor to this polynomial. Okay, so if x plus 1 is a factor to this polynomial, that means x plus 1 equals to 0, and this implies that x plus x is equal to minus 1. This means that x is equal to minus 1 is a 0 for this polynomial. Okay, so if x equals to minus 1 is a 0 for this polynomial, plug it into these polynomials. So that means that f of x, f of minus 1 is equal to 0, and then this is equal to 5 open bracket minus 1 square minus 4p times minus 1 plus 3. So this is equal to 5 times minus 1 squared is 5 minus 4 times minus 1 is plus 4 times minus 1 is minus 4, and then you have minus outside, so this becomes plus 4p plus 3, and then this is equal to 0. So 5 plus 3 is 8, and then this is equal to 8 plus 4p is equal to 0. So moving 8 to the other side, we have 4p is equal to minus 8, and that implies that p is equal to minus 8 over 4. So minus 8 over 4 is minus 2. The answer to that is C. So for question 38, we are asked to find the point of intersection of the lines 2x plus 3y minus 21 equals 0 and x minus 2y minus 7 equals 0. So to start off, we can write out the lines by saying 2x plus 3y minus 21 equals 0, and then x minus 2y minus x 7 equals 0. So the point of intersection is simply that point where both lines have the same x and y value. Okay, so for both lines to have the same x and y value, that means we can solve this as a simultaneous equation and get our answer. Okay, so to do that, let's say this is our equation. Let's close this. Okay, so to solve both as a simultaneous equation, we can see this is our equation 1 and this is our equation 2. So I'll be using the substitution method for this one. So let's pick equation 2. So from equation 2, I can make x subject to formula. So this will be x is equal to moving 2y and minus 7 to the other side. It becomes 2y plus 7. So we can call this equation 3. Then now plug equation 3 into 1. So there you have 2 open bracket 2y plus 7 plus 3y minus 21 is equal to 0. So from there, 2 times 2y is 4y plus 2 times 7 is 14 plus 3y, then you have minus 21 here, equals to 0. Okay, so adding all your values of y's and x's, you have 4y plus 3y is 7y, and then plus 14 minus 21 is minus 7 equals to 0. So this implies that y is equal to 7y is equal to 7, moving 7 to the other side. So y is equal to 7 divided by 7, which is equal to 1. So from here, to save your time, you can quickly look at the options and check whether you have any value that has a y point of 1 instead of solving for the second portion. For your x though, you have x is equal to 2 open bracket 1 plus 7. Okay, so x is equal to 2 times 1 is 2 plus 7. So 2 plus 7 is 9. Okay, so you have your x comma y value. X comma y value is simply 9 comma 1. Now if we go to our option and take a look at our options, that's for option A. Let's go to the next question. 39, we are asked to find the value of n if 13 to the base n plus 24 to the base n is equal to 41 to the base n. So writing out the question, we have 13 base n plus 24 base n is equal to 41 base n. So to find the value of n, we simply have to convert everything here to base 10. To do that, we have to start with here. So I'm going to say 1 times n plus 3 times n for 13. So from right to left, I'll be giving n increasing powers. So this will be 0 and 1. Let me bracket it. Then plus for 24, I'll still do the same thing. So I'll say 2 times n plus 4 times n. So in increasing powers, I'll be saying for n 0 and 1. And then this is equal to, for 41, I'll be doing the same thing. 4 times n plus 1 times n. Okay, so for increasing powers, I'll be saying 0 and 1. Okay, so from here, I'll be saying 1 times n is n plus 3 times n naught. 3 times n to the power of 0 is 3. So plus 2 times n to the power of 1 is 2n. Plus 4 times n to the power of 0 is 4. And then this is equal to 4 times n to the power of 1 is 4n. 1 to the power of n raised to the power 0 is 1. So from here, we collect like terms. We move n's to this side and constants to this side. So I have n plus 2n plus minus 4n. 4n is going to this side, so it becomes a minus 4n is equal to minus 1, and then 3 is going to just side, so it becomes minus 3 minus 4. Okay, so this is 3n minus 4n, and then this is equal to 1 minus 7. So in the end, you have minus n is equal to minus 6. So that n is equal to 6. So the answer is C. Okay, so for question 40, we are told that a polygamist decided to give 20% of his monthly income to his 3 wives as their monthly allowance. The eldest got 45% of the allowance and the youngest got 25%. How much was the man's income if the second wife got 3,000 naira? Okay, so we know that, let's assign a value to the man's income. So let's x equal to the man's income. If x equals to the man's income, that means 20% of that man's income, 20% of x was given to his wives. So we know that 45% of that 20% was given to the eldest wife. So 45% of the 20% of x was given to his eldest wife. And then the question also tells us that 25% was given to the youngest. So this is plus 25% of the 20% of his allowance was given to the youngest wife. And then for the third wife, it is common sense to know that for the second wife to get 45%, right? And then the youngest wife to get 25%. That leaves us with 100 minus 45 plus 25 is 70%, which is 30%. So that means the middle wife got a 30% share. 30% of that 20% of the man's money goes to the second wife. So you need to understand these relationships to get how I solve this question. So from here, we are simply going to be saying, since we know the amount the wife got, that means we can see our 30% of the 20% of x is equal to 3,000 naira. Okay, so from here we can represent percentages as decimal numbers. So simply stating that 30% is still the same thing as 30 over 100, and that is equal to 0.3. So I can simply say 30% here is 0.3 times 20% here is 0.2. Off is still the same thing as multiplication here. So 0.3 times 0.2 times x is equal to 3,000. So if we make x the subject of formula, we can get the man's income. So that implies that x is equal to 3,000 divided by 0.2 times 0.3. This is 3,000 divided by 0.06, and 3,000 divided by 0.06 is equal to 50,000 naira. So that's the man income is 50,000 naira, and the option that correlates with that is option A. Thanks for watching this video. If you liked it, leave a thumbs up, share with your friends, and subscribe.